The UN Climate Conference of the Parties talks in Egypt, while as African COPs are said to be dominated by calls from developing countries. The rich polluters pay for the harm their emissions have already caused, known as loss and damage.
We come together for the 27th annual climate meeting 30 years after the adoption of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change in 1992, 25 years since we adopted the Kyoto Protocol in 1997, and 7 years following yet another historic milestone, the Paris Agreement adopted in 2015.
Africa contributes less than 3% of the pollution responsible for climate change, but its most severable impact by the way ensuring crisis, Mr. Ruto said.
When the convention was adopted in 1992, global emissions were approximately 27 gigatons annually. This has risen to about 40 gigatons, while carbon dioxide accumulation in the atmosphere has also steadily increased.
The worst drought in 40 years is gripping Kenya and the wider home of Africa region, threatening millions with starvation. With the UN warns, Somalia is on the brink of the famine for the second time in just over a decade. Some 2.5 million livestock has died in Kenya. There is alone, Mr. Ruto said, causing economic losses for more than $1.5 billion poorer countries. Successfully found to have the issue of loss and damages officially put on COP27 agenda. Despite reculency over the issues from richer nations, worry of open end-to-end competitions for the damage causes by climate, including natural disasters. But observer caution that this is only for the first step towards what developing nations hope will be the specific fund to help with climate impacts. Loss and damages are not abstract topics of endless dialogue, Mr. Ruto said, speaking on behalf of the Africa negotiation groups. It is our daily experiences and living nightmare for millions of Kenyans and hundreds of millions of Africans. He said the country has had to recollect funds budget for education and health for an emergency food relief programs for 4.3 billion Kenyans, adding that the climate changes is directly threatening our people's lives, health and futures. Wildlife has not been spared in the country rich with biodiversities. Carcasely of elephants, zebras, wild beasts and much other animals, wild fauna, little art parks are said, adding government has spent $3 million or supplying feeds and waters to animals in distress in the last 3 months. The UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change in February warned that 10 of the million of Africans face a future marked by drought, diseases and displacement due to the global heating. Wealthy nations have failed to provide a pledged $100 billion a year from 2020 development nation to help them build realizable green their economics, reaching just $83 billion according to the UN. This is a major cause for persisting dispute, Mr. Ruto said. But he stressed that the continue presented huge economic opportunities and had a change of curb emissions and announced an Africa summit focusing on climate action next year. Africa vast tracts of land, deep treasures of diverse nature resources, tremendously untapped renewable energies potential, and the youthful, dynamic, skilled of workforce. Thank you.